There we have the national spokesperson of the ANC, Pule Mabe. Well, congratulations on your appointment and welcome to our program.
Thank you, and thank you to your viewers.
Well, let's start first by giving you a welcoming question. What is your response regarding this perceived disunity among the NEC, and especially with regards to whether or not President Jacob Zuma should step down? Because the Deputy Secretary General of the ANC was saying that the President Jacob Zuma's refusal to step down is causing problems on the ground.
No, I think the Deputy Secretary General of the ANC has labored quite extensively on the matter, to the extent that the National Executive Committee of the African National Congress will meet tomorrow in Cape Town as scheduled to receive a report of the National Working Committee, apply its own mind, and take its own decisions. You will know that the National Executive Committee is the highest decision-making body, and once that structure is arrived and made final determination, it will be able to convey that to the people of South Africa.
Should we say then now that the ANC is finding itself at the crossroads, given that the State of the Nation address, for the first time in the history of this country, has to be postponed just because of the president?
I think we must appreciate that and acknowledge both from what the Speaker of the National Assembly has echoed, the statement by the presidency and the one issued by the African National Congress, that one, the president himself, the state president himself, would have engaged with the relevant presiding officers on the need for a postponement. So as they were engaging, there was already that idea that looking at the national mood, it might be necessary to postpone the sitting, the joint sitting, to allow for some sanity and make sure that the ruling party and all of its deployees are able to hold together the national mood.
But that's not what the opposition parties are saying. They are saying that there won't be any SONA if there is Zuma.
No, but you see, unfortunately, I don't know when and how opposition parties meet and plan, because I do not belong to the realm of opposition parties. I am briefing you and placing it on record what is on the statement of the ANC, the statement issued by the presidency, and what was advanced by the Speaker of the National Assembly earlier on. So that, for me, is the factual preserve of what all of us should be understanding to be the reasons behind why there's a postponement of SONA.
But obviously, the reasoning behind this is that they're back to now the door of President Jacob Zuma, is that himself, in his own words, he commended former President Thabo Mbeki for stepping down. And he said that he put the ANC, rather, he put the country first rather than himself. But at the moment, everybody is singing from the same hymn book, saying that the president is doing the opposite, and that is actually frustrating all quarters of the society.
I think that maybe, to borrow from the words echoed earlier by the Deputy Secretary General, that it is important that the ANC is given space through its own NEC to discuss these issues and pronounce itself. I mean, the ANC is meeting tomorrow. I mean, what is so difficult about allowing the party to meet through its National Executive Committee and communicate and convey its decisions? What I can tell you is that the decision of the ANC will become binding on all of its membership. And all of us, when we come out of that meeting, will be articulating and advancing one position. That is how the ANC has always done its work. So we can't today be forced to make decisions outside structures that are apportioned with that responsibility. If we do that, we'll be introducing an unsustainable tradition in the movement, something that will be against the established values of the oldest liberation movement in Africa.
But then, isn't it unsustainable in the very same way you are addressing it, when yesterday we heard people marching to the Tule House saying that hands off Zuma, and we have other members of the ANC saying they are defending the ANC. So right now, that is causing confusion.
Yes, I think just to come closer to you, you will also know that there are sanctioned activities that happen at the command of the National Executive Committees. One of them is the January 8, is the NGCs, the policy conference. These are ordinarily sanctioned events. Now, a march to Lituli House can never be a sanctioned activity of the National Executive Committee. The National Executive Committee is meeting tomorrow. It will pronounce itself on this and many other issues of public concern. It will emerge out of that meeting with a resolve, and it will be able to convey that to the public. I must also say that there is, of course, for instance, we have got a rally in Cape Town on Sunday, which is a sanctioned activity, which is going to be addressed by the president of the ANC, because sanctioned activities of the ANC happen in that way. Of course, we can't be absent from the reality that ANC leads society. In that very same vein, ANC must be allowed to sit as the National Executive Committee, interact with reports of various of its structures, and be able to take a view, and one that brings the country together. The fact that it was the president, together with the presiding officers, who took this view, this begins to show you that there is an appreciation that we need to make sure that we tighten and hold the national mood together.
How can you tighten the national mood together when the ANC is marching against itself? Where is the unity that the ANC was talking about from Nasrec?
But for the simple fact that members of the National Executive Committee are meeting as a full complement to interact with a report of the NWC, and for the fact that the NWC would meet to receive a report on the engagements of the national officials on this issue of public interest. This alone should be telling you that the ANC leadership is beginning to move towards a cohesive line to find what will be one common view which will bring the country together.
What about President Zuma's response? Let me tell you, just before you finish, let me tell you, President Jacob Zuma told Mzwandi Lembeja of the SABC that if you are saying that the president who's sitting must step down before his term ends, you'll be creating chaos and you'll be creating confusion. That is why the president has not stepped down now. Now the argument is put on his door right now. The president, do you think that he is holding the country and the party at ransom by saying he didn't do anything wrong and therefore he's going nowhere?
Well, I think that we have already made our views clear. There is a special NEC that is sitting tomorrow in Cape Town. It might be necessary that we try and interact with the results of that National Executive Committee. The full complement of the NEC is expected to be there so that comrades can engage on this and many other issues and take a decision and immediately place that decision before the public. Because, you see, what we are trying to avoid is an instance where different messages are coming out, sometimes even from our own structures. So we're trying to make sure that when you are coming out of the NEC, having established a resolve, you immediately place it out in the public, so that there is one clear message that the people understand to be the position of the ANC on the matter.
I gather that from what you are telling me and what Ms. Jessie Duarte was saying earlier to Sophie, that the NEC's word is final. Now here's the question. What if the president says, no matter what decision you are taking, I am not going anywhere? What are you going to do about it?
Can I make a special plea that, having labored on this issue extensively over the past 1-2 minutes, that we both agree that the fate of this matter lies in the hands of the NEC. We also both agree that that NEC, apportioned with that responsibility, get given the space to express itself on the matter and make sure that it conveys its own resolve to the people of South Africa. What I can assure you of is that the unity of the people of this country is a matter that the ANC is not taking lightly. The ANC, as the leader of society, understand what it means to have a united country. Because when our people are united, it makes it easier for us to drive forward the program to emancipate them, the program to create jobs, and many others. So we need to make sure that that unity is held together. You can even see even the noise from opposition parties. They've run out of issues. Every time they speak, for them to make good sound bites, they must speak about the ANC.
Yeah, but the question that I'm asking you in other ways, if President Jacob Zuma says, I'm not going anywhere, fire me, what is the NEC going to do?
What I think what I can assure you of is that President Jacob Zuma, as the former president of the ANC and one of the outstanding revolutionaries of our time, is a disciplined cadre of the movement, understand the realm through how structures of the organization function and all of that. And I can tell you, he has always stood to protect and defend decisions of the ANC. Those of us who have had an opportunity of leading of serving under him in the previous collective can attest to that. His convictions are clear. He understands what it means to hold together decisions of the movement.
All right, Mr. Mabe, thank you very much for making time.
I wouldn't want us to create a different picture, and forget that President Zuma himself is a revolutionary and a disciplined member of the ANC.
All right. I'm holding you to your words, and we will come back to you. We'll keep in touch because you are now our go-to man when we need reaction from the ANC. Thank you very much, and good luck with your job, sir.
No, thanks, and thanks to your viewers for giving us time.
All right.